Production funding for Flying Squirrels Insider is made possible in part by
Clean water is one of our most valuable resources. Conserving it should be all of our responsibility. Remember every day to make every drop count. Wash full loads, take shorter showers, turn off your faucet. Water, use it wisely. Let's commit to conserve.
and by SciComm Technologies, celebrating 20 years in IT. SciComm is dedicated to helping customers stay on top of the tech wave, whatever comes next. Online at scicommtech.com. Today, the Squirrels have shined up the diamond for the first homestand of the season. The 2016 Flying Squirrels Party began with fireworks, Jerome Bettis, and a new manager at the helm. Wes McElroy returns to talk with the Squirrels head nut, Miguel Ojeda. Also, it's only a handful of games, but Jay and Greg break down the Squirrels' start to the season, with a few team records already broken. It's been a hot start for some huge Giants prospects, despite the whirlwind activities of arriving, finding a place to live, and getting settled in a new town. The team takes a look at what it's like for players to get acclimated to their new turf. Flying Squirrels Insider Season 5, Episode 2 starts now.
Hello again and welcome back to Flying Squirrels Insider. I'm your host Jay Burnham. Here on the show this week, we're going to return with Wes McElroy as he talks with the Flying Squirrels' new manager, Miguel Ojeda, and we'll dissect the start to the 2016 season. But first, we'd like to thank our community partners, including Utility Buddy from the City of Richmond Department of Public Utilities, shares information about Richmond's natural gas safety program. The smell of natural gas is a pungent odor like rotten eggs. If there's a strong rotten egg odor, leave the area, go where the smell is no longer present, and call 911. Not rotten, free stuff from the Flying Squirrels, and we're once again bringing that to you. You can text FSI to 63975. Mobile marketing services provided by Opt-in Technologies. Message and data rates may apply. With that said, I'd like to welcome in my broadcast partner to my left, Mr. Greg Caserta. And Greg, the Squirrels season has begun. We talked about it on the last show, a bit of a different start to the season with the Squirrels playing as the road team at home. What was the outcome of that four-game series?
It just never really felt right. I don't think anybody was really comfortable during that four-game series with the Squirrels playing at the Diamond as the visiting team. And granted, they dropped 3 out of 4 in that series, but they took on a very talented Hartford team that came in as the underdog just based on the fact that they were coming to town from spring training. They were doing all of their preseason get-together stuff at the Diamond, and they put up 3 really impressive performances, taking 3 out of 4. So it was obviously not the way you want to start the season, but obviously there were some things that we both like, things that the Squirrels can take as positives and carry that through the rest of the month.
And speaking of the players arriving, you're going to dive into that with the players going through a whirlwind experience of coming in from spring training, trying to find housing and getting acclimated to a new market for some. Now, what was impressive in that series and continuing on to the first 3-game road trip in Reading was the start of the young players for the Flying Squirrels, Christian Arroyo and Ryder Jones.
And Arroyo so far has been everything as advertised, the #1 prospect in the Giants organization, according to Baseball America, one of the youngest players in the Eastern League at just 20 years old. Defensively, he's been very sharp. He spent a couple of games at second base, and he's handled himself very well there. But the polish at the plate, the ability to use the opposite field, the fact that he hasn't seemed overwhelmed at this point, and the fact that Ryder Jones, like Arroyo, coming out of high school, he was actually the pick right after Arroyo in that 2013 draft. Some struggles the last few years, but so far off to a really impressive start, and it's been that same sort of formula, just hitting the ball the other way and not doing too much, especially deep in counts.
Yeah, Ryder Jones with a home run in the opening game for the Flying Squirrels. Arroyo already one of the league's leading hitters, and those will be the 2 guys that a lot of the Giants fans will talk about as their progression goes through the 2016 season. Should be fun to watch on that left side of the infield, and they'll be under a lot of scrutiny as the season goes forward. Speaking of left-handed power with Ryder Jones, a guy that a lot of Squirrels fans are familiar with, Ricky Oropesa. He has made his return to Richmond, and he has not really stumbled along the way. He picks up right where he left off last year.
And with Ricky Williams, it was run, Ricky, run. With Ricky Oropesa, it's been hit, Ricky, hit. And that's exactly what he did with 4 home runs through the first week of the season. This is a guy that only hits, well, he hit 17 last year in a full season's worth of games. And now the question is, How long does he stay in Richmond? How long realistically can you expect him to be here? He's been here for the last few years. I think he's done pretty much everything that you could ask for. The question now is, where does he slot in at AAA Sacramento? The signing of Connor Gillespie in the offseason kind of murkies the corner infield spots, although Jose Aguasil, who was the Squirrels manager last year, is now the skipper in AAA. So there's a tie in there, and I'm sure that everybody's hoping that Ricky eventually can make that jump.
Yeah, not everybody's excited about obtaining minor league records, but Ricky Oropesa has done so in Richmond, surpassing Jarrett Parker's 30 home run career record, having hit number 31 and 32 already to start the season. So for Oropesa, until he is gone, he will be the middle and the meat of the order for new manager Miguel Ojeda.
And one thing that you said in talking with Kyle Crick a few nights ago was that, what do you get out of Ricky? What are you seeing from him? And Kyle Crick very bluntly said, well, he's trying to get out of here. And one thing that Kyle pointed out that was really smart, he said that Ricky knows whenever there are Giants brass in town on the minor league side, Ricky seems to step his game up. And I don't know if that was there the first couple of years in Richmond. Maybe there wasn't that urgency or maybe that panic, but it seems to finally be arriving, and it's coming at the right time because now is the time for him to finally make that jump, and it would be his AAA debut.
Yeah, one final note on Oropesa as we discuss him ad nauseum here, but it is deserved for Oropesa the way he's put together solid stretches. One thing that might go under the radar for him is his defensive ability to snag balls on line drives, to dive to his left and to his right. He's already made some fine plays this year in the field, and he's also been able to go the other way with pitches, something he really couldn't do in his first couple of years here with the Flying Squirrels. So Oropesa, as long as he's here, he'll try to do the best he can to get to the next level, but the Squirrels will certainly benefit from having him hitting in the 4 spot. I want to talk about the rotation at the start. We were speculating on the last show about what the 6-man rotation might be. The Giants once again are going with the 6-man as opposed to the standard 5-man, and 1 through 6 seems pretty solid for pitching coach Steve Klein.
That's a loaded group in terms of top prospects. We detailed it on the previous episode of Flying Squirrels Insider. Starts at the top with Tyler Beede. As of now, he's made 2 starts, and you've seen some good, you've seen some bad. Really, for Beede, it's been 1 inning that's gotten away from him, but overall, I think the body of work has been pretty good. He's been able to throw strikes. Adalberto Mejia, in his first start, probably put together the best performance of anybody that we've seen in the rotation up to this point, and you pointed out that he really didn't have his ace stuff, so I think that's encouraging that your top 2 dogs have given you a little bit, and I think it's only going to get better, especially for Mejia.
Yeah, absolutely, and you go down the line, the Squirrels, all 6 of their pitchers in the starting rotation have previous experience here in the RVA, and one guy that arrived with a lot of fanfare a couple of years ago, Kyle Crick, was formerly the Giants' #1 overall rated prospect. That has slid over the past couple of years because he hasn't been able to get outs on a consistent basis and throw strikes on a consistent basis. But he made his 2016 debut in Reading, PA, which is not an easy place to pitch. And we saw a different Kyle Crick. He was pitching to contact a little bit more, and he told us on the pregame show the other day that he's incorporated a little bit of a sinker this year, and that seemed to work out well for him to get ground ball outs.
Yeah, sometimes simplicity is the best thing, and I think Steve Klein, now on year 2 with Kyle Crick, realizes what he has, realizes that he needs to fine-tune things a little bit more. Crick's still very young. He's only 23, a very highly rated prospect since he was drafted a few years ago, but the star has dimmed a little bit. There's no question about it, and we said coming into the season, this would be a huge year for him to put it all together, and through that first start, I think a very impressive first step for him because he was able to throw strikes, and that's where it starts.
Yeah, and for the Flying Squirrels, we'll make a note here. Richmond opening up as the road team at home. Those games really weren't on the schedule. Then making a 3-game trip to Reading where the weather really did not help anybody out. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the ballpark was real somber for the Squirrels. So coming home to open up the first official homestand, having Jerome Bettis throw out the first pitch the other day on Thursday, the Squirrels should benefit from a jolt of energy that the Diamond will provide.
Well, it's year 7 of the Flying Squirrels in the Eastern League. Having the bus throw out the opening day pitch is tremendous. We've all been waiting for this moment. I know the players are excited to be back. A lot of them talked about what the experience has been like for them playing their home games there. Obviously, the home record stands out the last few years. And to finally get back after a weird first week, I think it'll do wonders for this group.
Yeah, weird is the good word.
Right?
The quirky first week for the Flying Squirrels. And when they've had a solid pitching effort, the hitting hasn't been there or the bullpen has faltered, and that happened the other day in Reading, PA. But speaking of the bullpen, there is some very exciting pieces in that back end. We're going to talk about him a lot this season. Hopefully we'll get him on the show. Ray Black touching 104 miles per hour on the radar gun. Very impressive feat for him.
I've never seen anything like it. To see it up close, 100's that mythical number that you hear about but you don't often see. And as Jay pointed out, he hit 104 in Reading, which is mind-blowing. I mean, you heard about 103 from Black, which is something that is documented, but you don't really know what it's like until you see it. And what he has is something really special. It's the reason why the Giants haven't abandoned hope with him, despite his injury concerns, despite the fact that he missed 2 years with a shoulder problem. And he provides that balance at the back of the bullpen. He gives you that flamethrower, and as of now, he is the unofficial closer of this team. You throw in Dan Slania into the mix with that nasty split finger, and you have an 8th and 9th inning roll already set, so it's a really impressive start.
Yeah, I was going to mention Black will get all the headlines because of the velocity and his real just intimidating demeanor that he brings to the mound. He looks like a closer through and through, but in a setup role, Dan Slania, who came up here briefly for the Flying Squirrels back in 2014 when Richmond went to the playoffs. Slania kind of disappeared at the latter portion of that season, but made his way back with San Jose, a solid season last year, and then he told us that he developed a split finger pitch working with Ross Grimsley when he came up here in 2014, and that pitch seems to be the pitch that could get him to the big leagues.
Well, you think that a lot of pitchers develop pitches by accident, and that's kind of what it was like for Slania. And you hear about a split finger, and you don't really buy into it too much. Most organizations abandon the pitch now. They prefer the changeup because of the easier grip, the fact that it takes more pressure off the arm. So when we finally saw the split finger, we realized, no, it's really a split finger. It dies in the dirt. He generates a lot of swings and misses that way, and when all's said and done, that could be one of the most special pitches in the Eastern League this year.
So when you feel the Squirrels have a lead, and it has been the first 7 games not fully there, Slania in the 8th inning, and then coming on with Ray Black will certainly lead to a lot of victories from Miguel Ojeda.
And that's the formula now. You try and give your starters 5 to 6, especially in the first month when pitch counts are capped. So if you can bridge that, and if you can get it deep into ball games with a lead, you have to love your chances with those two at the end of the bullpen.
Yeah, and it kind of puts the Squirrels in a little bit of a disadvantage because they start with that 6-man rotation. You kind of take a guy out of the bullpen to put him in the rotation. So the first couple of weeks can be a bit spotty, as we saw last year with overextending some guys and trying to get them to relievers to throw a couple of innings. But they've all been throwing to Richmond native catcher Matt Wynn. And Wynn, final thoughts here, Greg, looked very sharp in his first week as a AA player.
Offensively, he's answered the call. I think defensively, there's still some work for him to do. He hasn't worked with these pitchers very much, so there's obviously that adjustment period where you start to figure each other out. One thing that Kyle Crick pointed out about throwing to Matt Wynn, he's a big target behind the plate. He sets up well on the corners. Blocking pitches in the dirt, still a little improvement there. Negating another team's base running ability, something that he still needs to work on a little bit. But I'd say for somebody who was drafted last year, the only 2015 draft pick on this team right now, I'd say that's a pretty solid showing for the young man.
Solid showing for you as well, my friend. We got a long season ahead of us. Great job. Thanks.
Thanks, Jay.
All right, Flying Squirrels baseball and Flying Squirrels Insider just getting started as Greg Caserta goes behind the scenes for what it's like for a player to arrive unbeknownst to where they're going and really trying to get their feet underneath them in a new city.
Here on Flying Squirrels Insider, we'd love to give you a behind-the-scenes look at all things Squirrels. I'm here in the clubhouse right now on a very quiet day while the team's on the road. Now, you might think that because they're athletes and because they're professionals, things come naturally to them, things come easy. But that's not the case. Away from the field, these guys get to town, it's a new city, it's a new experience, and they have to find a place to live. So I spoke to a couple of Squirrels, and they told me about their plight. Tyler Mazenko joins us in Parney's Pub. We're getting ready for the start of a new season, and you've been here before. You know about Richmond, you know what the deal is, but can you take us through that process at the end of spring training where you finally get that assignment and now you have to scramble to get everything together?
So we had about 5 days to start looking for places. the process is pretty crazy.
Just packing everything, all the stuff that I have is crazy. I had 3 bags, all about 50 pounds, just making it on the airplane.
All the VCU students, University of Richmond students, pretty much book up everything. So for us to come in, it's
a big mess. You know, you're trying to find roommates, trying to find a place to live, furniture.
I'm just living at home, living with my parents. I grew up about 10, 15 minutes away from the field, so it just makes sense for me to just live with my parents.
The first day, you're always excited, just getting here for practice. You know, I've never been here myself, so understanding kind of the dimensions on the field, where you're going to be warming up in the bullpen.
How were Mr. and Mrs. Winner's roommates? Are they okay?
They're not bad. They're good. They're good. My mom works early, so basically my parents aren't home when I wake up, so it's basically I have the house to myself.
When I found out I was coming back, I was really excited. It's a great place to be for the summer. Our fans are incredible. We pack out the place every night. Everyone that works here is awesome. This year's team is going to be a lot of fun. You know, we're going to be a very solid team, and you know, we want that champagne shower. We want a ring, so we're gonna, from day one, we mean business. So we're ready.
You have a season starting. You're trying to devote everything to that, and in the meantime, you don't have a car, you don't have a place to live, you don't have furniture. So how do you balance that? How do you juggle all that?
Well, the good thing with practice and baseball getting ready for the season, you know it's a finite time. You have practice from here to here. You know what you're gonna do, so that time of your day is already blocked out. You don't have to worry about that. The struggle is, you got all this downtime to try to figure out all this, try to have your roommates on the same schedule, figure out, okay, we gotta go here to get furniture, we gotta go here to drop money order off, all these moving pieces, and you have this just time frame to get it done.
You gotta be locked in baseball-wise, but at the same time, you know, you gotta take care of your personal life on the side. So it's, you know, once we walk into the stadium every day, it's baseball, and when we leave, you know, get back to our personal lives, get back to our family.
You were drafted last year, so the fact that you're starting right here in Double-A, that's pretty rare.
Yeah, I had no intentions, I guess, of seeing my name on the Richmond roster, but I'm blessed to be here.
Seems like we're gonna have a fun team. You know, like switching up with the roles and the coaching staff. And our first-year manager, he seems like a great guy, fun to play for already so far. We haven't even started.
I need to know, how does the missus feel about the mustache?
She's not a big fan.
No, right?
But you know, I told her once we got married, it's a free-for-all now. So
okay.
Mustache, long hair's coming back. But no, I mean, she puts up with it during the season. In the off season, it's a no-go. But we'll see. For now, it's staying.
Tyler Mazenko, the man with the mustache, he's got all the answers. We're back right after this.
Welcome back to Flying Squirrels Insider on a beautiful afternoon here at the Diamond, up top of the party deck of right field, here with the newest skipper of the Flying Squirrels, Miguel Ojeda. Welcome to town. First impressions of your new home and your new team.
Well, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. It's a great pleasure to say hi to all the fans here in Richmond, which I heard they're great. So I hope we have your support today and all the homestands. Happy to be here, find a great place to live. I'm happy, I'm having a blast. The most important thing is coming, you know, we're trying to pick up the pace of the team and trying to get wins. And I mean, we had a great game yesterday, and we're gonna have a good game today again.
Here for the Squirrels homestand to start things off. Now, it's kind of odd that you opened up at home, but you were the visiting team, went on the road, now you're back here. I'm glad to hear you're so happy, because I read a story about you that managing was not really something that was in your future plans. How did you get into the coaching aspect of things?
Well, I mean, when you're playing, when you're a player, the last thing you think is in retirement. Last thing you think is start getting a manager. Obviously, my playing career ends, and all of a sudden I'm managing in Mexico, which I spent 3 great years down there. But I still have, in my dreams, trying to get back to States, trying to reach up my dreams, which is, trying to get back to the big league somehow. And here I am. I make my application to the Giants. They hire me, and I'm trying not to let them down, trying to have a blast. I'm trying to work hard and help these young talents to reach their dreams as well.
Now, when you get here to Richmond, you are about to see an average of 6,500 people here a night. They love the Squirrels. They're smart fans. They know baseball. But I am curious from where you came from. What is it like to be part of baseball in Mexico?
Well, obviously, you need to win day in and day out. In Mexico, there's nothing about development as it is here. I mean, for me, it's important to win, but it's also very important to have these guys know how to develop their skills in order to get to the big league level, which obviously everybody wants to do. So, I mean, being in Mexico for me was more pressure in the fact that you have to win every day, like I said. Here, I mean, as much as I want to win, I want to help these guys, like I say, to get better, to learn how to play the game the right way, to get to the big league level.
When you get into this level and you see young guys and you got to play a couple of years at the major league level, what's the best advice you can give a guy? Because AA, you're in that development phase, but what's the best advice you can give a guy about being patient, waiting for that day, waiting for that call-up?
Well, I mean, as long as you have a uniform on, and if you make your math, you'll see there are only 750 uniforms in the big leagues, which means there are not too many. But as long as you have a uniform on and you're working, you're playing baseball with an organization, you had a great chance to be in the big leagues. So all you have to do is just keep working. What do you remember about the day that you got the call? Oh, it was one of the greatest days of my life. I mean, I remember I was playing in Mexico. They pulled me out of the game, and I was mad at the beginning. So I didn't know what was going on. So once they told me, I mean, everything turns to being a happiness, and everything from there was just great. What do you mean? What do you remember about your major league debut? I remember having a tough day traveling since I left Mexico about 4 in the morning. I got there in a 12 o'clock game against the Braves, and my first at bat was against. Pretty much, I remember everything. Yeah. The things that you don't forget. You never forget that. Sure, you're playing your entire life for that one moment. You're probably not going to forget a single detail. No, I'm telling you, no. So it's great memories. Now, you got a chance in the majors to play for and work with Bruce Bochy. So what advice did you get from him as you begin your managerial career here? Oh, well, obviously, we're talking about, if he's not the best, he's one of the best in the major leagues, 3 championships, 3 World Series rings in the last 5 years, which is not easy to do. So, well, I mean, playing for him is just something that it gets you the chance to prove what you are. I remember him tell us, everybody, tell the team what you guys want to be known for. That's one of the words that I always kept in my mind, and I told myself, okay, I wanna be known for the guy that fix the things when you need it, And he put me sometimes in a tough situation, and I did a good job. Other time I failed, but I think it's part of baseball, Being a great hitter, you can fail 7 times in 10 opportunities, and you're still a good hitter. So I think I was all right. A lot of stories, a lot of experience with Miguel Ojeda, but this is the first time he is truly a flying squirrel in baseball. Welcome to Richmond. We look forward to having you here. You're going to love baseball here. Have a blast and good luck to you this season. Thank you. I'm already having a blast. I mean, it's a great city. It's a little cold for me, but I'll get used to it. It'll get steamy here. We'll get some humidity. We'll get you cranking. I know. That's what I heard too. So, I mean, I'm used to humidity. Obviously, I like cold weather. I'll be all right. I mean, I'm having a great time. I need my team to get better and win matter, and we'll be good.
Thanks for the time. Welcome to Richmond.
Thank you.
You got
Thanks
it.
a lot.
We'll come back. Jay Burnham will wrap up this edition of Flying Squirrels Insider.
Well, that'll do it for us here on another episode of FSI. As you can see, there's a lot to look forward to both on and off the field for the Flying Squirrels. With the way things are currently structured, you can truly see anything on any given day at the ballpark. Thanks to the entire crew for another quality start here on the show. Until next time, for Wes McElroy and Greg Caserta, I'm Jay Burnham saying so long, everybody.
Production funding for Flying Squirrels Insider is made possible in part by
Smell gas? Act fast. Don't just stand there. Leave the area. Get out. Go where the smell is no longer present and call 911. Making you aware, keeping you safe. We're Richmond's Natural Gas Safety Awareness Program.
and by SciComm Technologies, celebrating 20 years in IT. SciComm is dedicated to helping customers stay on top of the tech wave, whatever comes next. Online at scicommtech.com.